actually. Wow, holy shit. Well, it's super rad, he said, examining it. What does it mean? What did it mean? I had no fucking clue, but I intended to find out. Date night turned out to be movie night, which was frustrating since I'd hoped to have time to talk to Locke and Hyle about everything that had happened. I wasn't expecting a dramatic confrontation or anything, but I also wasn't expected to be awkwardly sandwiched between the two brothers while a gruesome horror movie blared in the background. Darren was lying down with his head in Adara's lap as she stroked his head like he was her prized pet. It was a bit creepy. Not enjoying the movie? Kyle whispered to me as Locke munched through his second bowl of popcorn. Horror isn't really my thing, I said, cringing as someone on screen was ripped in half. It brings back bad memories from my childhood. I didn't know who my parents were, but I knew they'd abandoned me when I was a little girl and left me to deal with one abusive authority figure after the next. I hugged my knees tightly as brutal images flashed across the screen. All three of the Debriscas seemed to be eating it up. The girl on screen was in chains, her captor endlessly tormenting her. This was entertainment? I closed my eyes and started playing an alternate version of the movie in my head. One where the girl escaped and got to live the life she chose. You're missing the best part. Locke nudged me while scarfing down more popcorn. Are you scared or something? Not scared, just disgusted, I retorted. Whatever, your loss, he said, returning his attention to the movie. Maybe I hated this so much because I identified with that girl. Maybe I'd never been put in literal chains, but I'd always lived a life dictated by someone else. Dominic, L, the rules of the streets. I wanted to control my own life for once. The movie abruptly ended in an unsurprising bloodbath, and as the Debriscas clapped and cheered, I just thanked the heavens that it was finally over. Where am I sleeping tonight? I asked, suddenly realizing I hadn't thought through the whole moving in thing. You can sleep in whatever room you like, Kyle replied. As long as it's mine or his, Locke said with a devious smile. Ugh, the fucking nerve of this guy. I'm not sleeping with either of you, I said immediately. Don't get any ideas. Suit yourself, Locke shrugged. You can sleep on the couch then. That was fine by me. This couch was 1,000 times nicer than any bed I'd ever slept in. Well, except Locke's, I suppose. But I kept trying to forget that happened. Adara and Darren made a beeline for her bedroom as soon as the movie ended. How she was turned on after that trash, I'd never understand. Leaving me alone with the brothers. Are you sure you're comfortable sleeping alone? Hyle asked, unconvinced. When my other option is sleeping with one of you, yeah. I'll be fine. I won't let the couch swallow me or anything, I joked. Hyle and Locke gave each other a weird smile that made me shudder. Sometimes it felt like the two of them shared a brain. One single fucked up, mystifying brain. Very well. We'll leave you to your sleep, Hyle said, getting up. This was a delightful evening. Was it? For whom? Kyle and Locke disappeared into their bedrooms, although Locke gave me an annoying wink before he left. I'd had a long day, and sleep hit me like a speeding truck. But as I drifted off, images of the movie kept flashing through my mind. A blood-curdling scream, the clattering of chains, a girl running for her life. I jolted awake in a cold sweat, breathing heavily. It was just a nightmare. I was okay. I was safe. My shirt was so soaked that I had to peel it off and throw it aside, leaving me in just my bra and jeans. I knew watching that movie was a bad idea. Now every dark corner I looked at seemed to be moving, and every weird creak or rattle made me wince. Thump. I cowered as the chandelier above me shook. Fuck. Okay. I might be acting like a baby, but I don't want to be alone right now. It looked like both Hyle's and Locke's lights were still on. Maybe I could sit up and talk with one of them for a while. Neither of them had proved to be the most empathetic of people, but they had both said they wanted to get to know me better. I draped a blanket around my shoulders and quietly crept to the hallway. Their rooms were on opposite sides of the hall facing each other. Who should I choose? Hyle kind of seems like he could have a sensitive side. But then again, Locke is more straightforward with his words. But he's also more likely to try and sleep with me. So Hyle it is. I was curiously feeling drawn toward his room anyway. My tattoo was tingling, and I found myself just wanting to be in his presence. I knocked softly on the doorframe and entered. Madeline. Hyle looked surprised to see me. Can't sleep. His emerald eyes seemed to swirl when we made eye contact. Just had a bad dream. Thought maybe you'd be down to stay up and talk for a bit, I said hopefully. Of course. Hyle smiled, waving me over. We have much to talk about. Why don't you sleep here with us tonight? With us? I suddenly felt two strong hands gripping my shoulders, and the tingling in my tattoo went wild. Don't worry. We don't bite. Not always, anyway. Locke said from behind me. He coaxed me onto the bed, and I now found myself lying between the two brothers in the exact situation I had been trying to avoid. Don't be so tense, Locke said, as his green eyes flashed with mischief. This is natural for all of us. Locke, Hyle said with a warning tone. We agreed she's not ready. No, you did, Locke shot back. I won't delay our fates any longer. She deserves to know the truth. And what the hell is the truth? I suddenly shouted. Locke and Hyle looked at each other, and Hyle finally nodded. The truth is, Locke shot me a toothy smile. We're Dragon Lords.
You've reached the end of this chapter. Open the Galatea app to continue listening.
Chapter 11, Dragons and Dreams. Maddie. Dragons. Are my ears ringing? Is this just another dream? Dragons? What the fuck? Did they just tell me they're honest to God dragons? Like fire breathing, flying, people eating, scaly serpents? I wanted to burst out laughing, but I couldn't. Why couldn't I? It was because, as insane as it would be, so many things would finally make sense. Was it really possible that dragons weren't just a load of fairy tale fuckery? Could they really be real? I'd scoffed at those legends for my entire life. But now I was lying in bed with two men who I would truthfully describe as the living embodiment of dragons. And the dragon tattoo that mysteriously showed up on my back, that must be connected too. But this was all too crazy to be true. Wasn't it? Hello, stupid mouse. You've been lying there with your eyes glazed over for minutes. Locke droned impatiently. Have you lost your ability to speak? Give her a moment to process, brother. Hyle reprimanded. She wasn't even aware of our kind's existence. Of course she was, Locke snapped. We're the very fabric of history itself. Yes, but she never believed in the legends. Hyle sighed. Were they reading my fucking mind? How do I know you're telling the truth? How do I know you aren't just fucking with me? I asked, finally finding my voice. Should we give her a demonstration? Locke grinned. Shift into our true forms? No, Locke. She'd probably pass out. Hyle responded bluntly. There are ways that we can prove our claims that are less uncouth. Locke rolled his eyes. Fine, you take the lead then. Madeline, Hyle said softly, placing his hand on my bare shoulder. Let me show you my powers. I suddenly remembered I was only wearing a bra and became extremely self-conscious. Even more so because both brothers were shirtless. And when they touched me, I felt a stirring in my body that made me unbelievably horny. You're thinking about my bare torso and how it gives you a pleasurable feeling in your loins, Hyle said casually. Huh?
This is terrible.
No. What? I said, completely flustered. What are you even talking about? And seriously, why were they always wearing tight leather pants? They left nothing to the imagination.
So cute.
The leather pants aren't part of our corporal forms, Hyle said, interrupting my thoughts. We create them, along with these bodies. We can materialize any clothing, but this is the most aesthetically pleasing. Okay, so they can fucking read minds. Unless... That's a neat trick, but how do I know you aren't just a really good guesser? I challenged. Hyle's nostrils flared, and smoke spilled out. I'll leave the next one to you, brother. Locke's eyes lit up with a green glint of mischief, and he rubbed his hands together. Time for the real show. As Locke continued to rub his palms against each other, emerald fire erupted between them, and he began tossing the fire around and playing with it as if it were a basketball. He then inhaled a deep breath and blew out, shooting the fire in an incredible burst all the way across the room. I had to admit, it was fucking breathtaking, but I'd seen fire breathers on the streets before, dressed in plastic dragon masks, trying to make a quick buck. It was a parlor trick at best, a manipulation of the mind. I still wasn't convinced. I've seen that shit before. Any street performer in Requiem City, worth their salt, can do something similar, I said, crossing my arms. I really was beginning to doubt their claims. In fact, I was feeling foolish for even believing they could be true in the first place. Oh, for fuck's sake, Locke glared at me, aggravated. I don't have to prove anything to you, street rat. Kyle just shook his head and sighed, suddenly completely vanishing from his spot on the bed. In his place was a thin veil of mist. Okay, now I was fucking speechless. How the hell? Where did he go? I stammered. He was just... Locke shot me a smirk and pulled the exact same move, vanishing in a distorted mist. Suddenly, both brothers reappeared, their particles materializing into physical forms. And not only that, they were both hovering. Neither's feet touched the ground. Okay, I said, clutching my hair a bit manically. I believe you. You're dragons. Dragon lords, Hyle corrected me. But what does this all have to do with me? I asked, confused. Why am I here? Because you're our destined mate, Locke revealed, letting his feet touch the ground so that he could walk over to me. He lay back down next to me and stared deeply into my eyes. We've known since we put your hand in the fire. Only the mate of a dragon lord can withstand fire, especially emerald fire. Destined mates? So did that mean we were bound together somehow? I had so many questions that I didn't even know where to begin. You must understand that we've only been so secretive and mysterious because we thought you weren't ready. Hyle explained as he lay down on the other side of me. You thought, Locke said. I don't really care if she's ready. Ready for what? What does being a destined mate mean? I asked, even though I could probably guess. For starters, Locke shot me a lusty grin. You share our bed, and I don't mean the way that we're sharing it now. I'm a virgin, I squeaked indignantly. We know. They both droned in unison. Of course they already knew that. Locke, I still think that we must wait until she's 18. Then she'll be ready, Hyle said carefully. That's a whole year, Locke shouted. Brother, we'll never be able to control ourselves until then. Not when she's under the same damn roof. I agree. Which was why I've made other arrangements, Hyle said, smirking. Don't be coy, brother. What is your plan? Locke demanded. Don't I get a say in any of this? I said, exasperated. You're talking about my body. Locke and Hyle exchanged devious smirks that sent a chill down my spine. Before I knew what was happening, they were both spooning me, and my tattoo was heating up. The warmth from their bodies felt amazing, and I just wanted to melt away. Hyle spoke to me in a soothing tone. Sleep, Madeline. Your time is not now. We'll resume this again when the time is right. I wasn't even tired, but my eyelids began to feel heavy, as if something was forcing them shut, and a sinking sensation struck my chest. The closer Locke and Hyle spooned me, the more I felt like I was falling into a deep, dark hole. As I drifted off to sleep, I had a strange thought. What if all of this is just a dream? 1 year later, I woke up to the sun shining through the large window of my dormitory. The smell of the fresh mountain air wafted into the room, and I smiled at how relaxed it made me feel. Finals were over, and I could actually sleep in. but I forced myself to get out of bed anyway. I walked to the window and leaned my elbows on the sill as I appreciated the view. Miles and miles of towering pine trees against the rugged majesty of the mountainside. Graceful Springs Academy really was in one of the prettiest places in the world. The slums and sewers of Requiem City seemed so far away. Good morning, sunshine. Zeta waltzed into the room with a little too much pep in her step for this early in the morning, but she had always been that way. I envied her bouncy curls and her sparkling auburn eyes. She had the kind of attitude that demanded attention every time she entered a room. Zeta and I had grown close over the past year since rooming together, and I couldn't imagine a world without that brilliant smile lighting it up. She wrapped her arms around me and gave me a tight hug. Happy birthday to my BFF. Don't think I forgot. 18, girl. Oh shit, I said, whipping around. Actually, I forgot myself. Are you kidding? She said, slapping her forehead. Maddie, I swear, your head is always in the damn clouds. How do you forget your own birthday? They were never that important to me when I was growing up, I responded casually. There was nothing special about my birth. That's what my parents must have thought too, since they just tossed me into the streets. Oh, Mads, shit. I'm sorry. I forgot about all that, Zeta said, shifting uncomfortably. Sorry to be a downer, I shrugged. It only took a moment for Zeta's infectious smile to return. Look on the bright side. Whatever happened in the past, it brought you here to the present. You're about to turn 18, you're about to graduate, and the big dance is tonight. Life is fucking good. I couldn't help but laugh. She was right. Life was pretty fucking good. As I pulled off my nightgown and started getting dressed, I stopped to examine my back in the mirror, staring at the tattoo of twin dragons on my shoulder blade. Did you have that dream again? Zeta asked, looking at me with concern. Yeah, I replied, distracted. I dreamed that I was lying between the Dabriska brothers, whom I'd never even met, and they told me I was destined to be theirs. But why Locke and Hyle? Why did I keep dreaming about these two men who had no bearing on my life? It was a question I'd asked myself countless times. Because it was a dream I'd had countless times. Every single night for 1 year.
You've reached the end of this chapter. Open the Galatea app to continue listening.
Gotta go do something for my mom.